What is up, NFL fans? It is your boy, Kevin Phillip Fox, and I am here with the Legit Football NFL podcast. I don't even need to ask the question if you've missed us as much as we miss you, because I know that there's no possible way that anybody could miss anyone as much as we miss you. So probably a little less, but it's still probably pretty large amount. Anyways, as you already know, I'm Kevin Phillip Fox, and I'm here kicking off the show. First one of the NFL season, I think, which is a slightly diabolical right before the week 3 kickoff. But, we all have a hankering to talk football, and really nobody more so than myself and the other person joining me on this episode, which is the man from Down Under. You know him as Adrian Revito. Adrian, how the H are you?
Whew, I'm so good, man. You're right. I can't believe it's taken us this long for our first in-season show. Peek behind the curtain here, so much so that my son is currently asleep, and I'm like, dude, we need a pod. We need to pod. So if he wakes up, this could be cut short. But I'm feeling good, and I'm sure you're feeling good after the Thursday night game. It's been a fun start to the season, man. Do you agree?
Yeah, extremely fun, man. Yeah, I'm enjoying myself. Obviously, there's a lot to get into, and I think maybe we should start off the show. This is late night legit. Adrian actually pitched a 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific episode. I reined him in. I was able to wrestle the reins to a 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. So most of our listeners are probably already tuckered out because they know the football fairy visits in the morning. So they're probably, asleep, dreaming of touchdowns and red zone and all that. But that being said, I kind of think a great way to open the show, kick the show off, is just general thoughts about the start of the season. We could do a little Homer Hill. We love talking about our favorite teams. And, I'll say this. I mean, okay, yeah, so the Bills are 3-0. Pretty sick. They won last night on Thursday Night Football. 2 nights ago, actually. Weird to see the whole timing thing. The whole time is relative, bro. But
it's a construct. It happened today. Whatever.
They won, dude. It never happened, and it's always happened, bro.
And it's happening right now.
Also that. So we won, right? It was a double-digit win against a division opponent. I think people are burying Miami a little too prematurely. I think that's about the weight of the punch that I expected from them. And I just have the faith now in McDermott, Josh, and Cook and company that like they can absorb those blows and just they're a wagon. Like they're gonna do what they do. It's a ho-hum 10-point win that the fan base is complaining about because why didn't we throw deeper? Why didn't we score more points? It wasn't fun. Okay, we're 3-0. I like ugly wins over pretty losses, and I don't even really think that was ugly.
No. Were you worried at any point?
No. I was pretty confident the Dolphins were going to tie it up 28-28. And then I said, well, we have 17. So,
yeah. I really thought I expected them to sort of start, going short, going low, and trying to burn as much clock as possible, and then go to tie it up, but put for the 2 points. That just felt Mike McDanielish to me. He was like,
same. I agree.
Kind of like, he's got nothing to lose at this point. It was sort of like, if I can put the Bills away, that kind of saves his job. He probably did save his job for a couple of weeks just by being competitive. But yeah. So I was a little nervous for you, but you're right. Look, there is something about Josh Allen where it's kind of like there's very few quarterbacks in the NFL where you sort of like, okay, game's on the line. Who do I want? And I'm without, I know Patrick Mahomes is always, consensus number one. Like kind of right now, if I was building for this season, Josh Allen's that dude.
I obviously, I've had my feelings over the years about that debate and all the debates, and I think they're all valid, right? Because, the Bills haven't been to a Super Bowl in the Josh Allen era. So I understand all the complaints, and I just think there's an element of luck and there's an element of variability that comes with winning a Super Bowl that doesn't get accounted for in these conversations. So I agree with you. I think Josh Allen is playing some of the best quarterback I've ever seen. He feels as inevitable as any quarterback I've seen up there with the Bradys, the Mahomes, the Mannings, the Rodgers, and it's a fun time, man. It's a party in Billstown, I got a little choked up thinking about the fact that this is the last season in that stadium because I was baptized in that stadium, brother.
Well, that look, you would hope, but what a poetic end to the stadium would be to bring a Super Bowl there.
You're gonna get me choked up again. Let's before grown man tears grace a legit football podcast, which I'm sure it wouldn't be the first time. Let's move to Wisconsin and talk about the Cheeseheads because I'm starting to think your Packers might be the team to beat in the NFC.
It feels that way. I don't want to get too ahead of myself and the reason I say that is it's cautious optimism as it always is. The Packers, they do this, and I was petrified, if I'm being honest, before week 2 that they would come out and lay an egg because they absolutely just dominated week 1. A strong opponent like the Lions to kind of put them in their place like that. The Lions talked about if we take away the run game, we can win. They took away the run game and they couldn't do anything to stop the Packers. So to come out week 2 and do the same, it's been awesome. I'm flying high. The Micah Parsons trade feels as impactful as any player I've seen traded to any team at this point.
Yeah.
And that's not, I said this, I made a short for the YouTube, I'm pretty sure, where I said Kenny Clark, they sent Kenny Clark, and he does a lot of things off the stats sheet, which is great. And so does Micah Parsons. But the thing is, Parsons does it off and on, whereas Kenny Clark was really just off. He had 1 sack last year.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling good about the Packers. I'm feeling good about where they're going. Their injuries are a little bit concerning, but Keyshawn Nixon is playing cornerback 1 far better than I think any of us would have expected. Their pass rush is good. Jordan Love is playing that level where he normally gets to late season form. Like he's kind of started strong. So I just hope they keep it up. And I'm feeling super confident in the team. And you know what, man? It's just a lot of fun. Like, the wins have been fun. The plays have been fun. He's getting his gunslinger back on. It's cool, man. It's really like there's some teams that are fun to watch win, and there's some teams where it's like, okay, I'll grind out another win. This is, like if I was a Chiefs fan, all right, you've got nothing to complain about as a Chiefs fan, but the wins last year were not super fun. This is great football. Patrick Mahomes is underarm flu. Like, this is a fun team to root for, and I'm really excited for it. Probably the most I've been in my tenure as a Packers fan.
Wow, that's saying something as a fan who's witnessed a chip. That's saying something. I'd like to just say
maybe not chip, yeah.
I'm a little these aren't Jags that you guys are beating up on, no pun intended. These are some of the best. The Lions and the Commanders are the toast of the NFC. What was that, the NFC divisional round last year? Did those two have a date in the quarterfinal? And you just kind of beat up on both. Like it wasn't
home, but you're right.
I mean, like and yeah, you're right. Love looked good. They're moving the ball. Jacobs is kind of at this point in his career. I feel like in a way you almost just want to keep him fresh for the playoffs. Like I would like to see them develop a second running back. Like I know they got Wilson and
Marshawn Lloyd is their one that hopefully this year is going to come out a little bit.
Isn't he still hurt? I feel like he's always hurt.
Yeah, I think him. I know you're right. He is on IR. Sorry, I take that back. I literally just checked. Chris Brooks was a bit of a preseason hero, so we'll see. Wilson. Yeah, I'm
just, I think that would be my one weird critique of like if you want to build a wagon like what Buffalo has. I feel like that's something you need. I feel like you need to keep your stallion fresh. But other than that, I mean, yeah, losing Jaden Reed hurts, but they have a stable at wide receiver.
And he'll be back. He'll be back before.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's actually low key, maybe a blessing in disguise because he could get that foot surgery. Honestly, I avoided him in fantasy out of fear due to the foot. And now that's getting corrected. And maybe when he comes back, he'll be like a sneaky sleeper. Here we go. Armand is back and Homer Hill is only for hosts, but we'll just say Jets 0-2 doesn't feel like they should be. No. I'm excited to watch Tyrod Taylor play some football tomorrow, but we'll talk about that when we get to the game previews. Which, by the way, Adrian, is there any other general football storylines that are catching your eye that you want to talk about before we get into the official nitty-gritty of it all?
I think given that you and I tend to ramble on and on, like let's get into the games and we can hit those headlines as we go. If you're comfortable with that, I feel like that's the way to go.
I absolutely love that. Let's go. We'll just go back and forth. I'll start. And we'll do what we usually do. I can pull up live DK spreads, just for the sake of the conversation and the pickage.
Yep.
We're gonna start off with the Atlanta Falcons heading to Carolina to take on the Panthers, and talk about your bury this one in the early slate games if I've ever seen one. Not quite disgusting enough to be a dynamite game, but not an overly exciting game. Falcons are 4.5-point road favorites in Carolina with an over/under of 44.5. The Falcons have taken care of business. They did their thing in week 2, really just completely stifling the Vikings. I don't know if that's just McCarthy being putrid or if that's their defense being special. It's that early part of the season where you can't really gauge it quite yet. So with more data will come more analysis. But nevertheless, I'm looking for their passing game to wake up in week 3. And I think Carolina's kind of a good opponent to kind of tee off on and get all your stuff ready to go, get all your stuff get fine-tune your offense, because Carolina doesn't really it's a get right game. Yeah, Carolina doesn't really stop anything particularly well. On the Carolina side of the ball, you got Bryce Young, who is kind of looking a little bit like the breakout last year was a mirage, which is unfortunate for me given my confidence that I'm the you of this year. I'm the idiot. I got the clown makeup on with the
I was gonna say
with the Bryce Young take. But I do still have some confidence given the Dave Canales presence. I think Tat McMillan is a bona fide stud. I don't know how you could possibly watch football and not love Chuba Hubbard. So I think this is a game that's pretty straightforward. I think I actually have a material amount of my last handful of paychecks invested in Atlanta winning this game. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, personally. Look for a big Bijan game because Carolina can't stop a nosebleed, as we know. I think Atlanta wins this one. I'll say 31-19.
Yeah, I think this has got Bijan's name all over it. They're allowing 141 yards per game on the ground. Their O-line is battered as well, so that doesn't help them, especially because like the Falcons pass rush kind of come to life. I don't want to say it too early, but it seems like their 2 rookie picks might have kind of hit both of them. So that's awesome. I'm with you on this. Not only am I saying Falcons, when I'm putting bets on tonight, which I will be, for me it's tonight because right now it's 1 in the afternoon. I'm going to put a sizable amount on Bijan for over 100 on the ground, at least, or over 100 pass rushing, receiving for sure. Let's say 30. What did you say? 31 to what?
19. I got cute with it.
Yeah, okay. I'll say 31-17. 31-16. There's going to be more field goals for Carolina. I just, with that O-line, man, I don't know if Bryce Young's going to stay safe.
It's a lot of dogs on Carolina that you're forecasting not having a good game. Tet, Chuba, I could see both of them getting in the end zone.
I feel like he's going to be really uncomfortable with this pass rush that the Falcons got going, and I also think the Falcons are just going to pound this through the ground. They're going to maintain possession. This is what I think, and I don't think they're going to get that many opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. It'll be interesting to see. Like I said, we'll find out how legit Atlanta's defense is tomorrow. Just because, maybe not. Maybe that's not a fair point because Carolina, I feel like anyone could shut Carolina down. Anyways, we could be in the weeds all day with that. But why don't you take it away with the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings with an over/under of, I had it pulled up and I closed it. Go ahead and start your analysis, and I'll give that information in a moment.
That's okay. So I'll mention. So this is the backup QB ball. This is probably as close to a dynamite game as you're going to get in week 3. I'm not going to give it the 1 minute ticker, but I'm just going to say. So you got Carson Wentz starting for the Vikings, which is a weird one because they announced it super super early, and I think it's got a lot to do with JJ McCarthy just looking stunned and lost out there.
Yep.
And then I've gone up against Jake Browning because obviously Joe Burrow is now out for likely 3 months. So it's an odd game, and it's kind of going to be a bit of a coach off, I think, here. There's not a lot for me to love here. I don't think the Vikings defense is going to be the difference here. I think Brian Flores, and I've said it since last year, he's just a genius defensively. And sometimes I'll try and watch these games from Brian Flores' defense, and just myself, just like to look at like, okay, how many are showing pressure, how many are showing drop back, and like every play, it's just disguised and different, and pressure comes from different spaces, and it's crazy. And putting someone like Jake Browning in there, who Jake Browning is like, as far as backups goes, one of our legit headlines where the Bengals are super confident in, and he won some games for them when he's played. So
he's solid.
it's going to be interesting. I don't know who's going to win here. I kind of want the Bengals. They need to get out to a 3-0 start because they almost didn't get their first win against the Browns. They now got Jake Browning. If you want to be there when in the playoff race when Joe Burrow is back, you need to take the layups, and Carson Wentz is about as close as you're going to get to that. So let's say the Bengals take this in a slugfest, 17-10.
Oh God, that's a slobber knocker, I believe you call that. So Cincinnati's a 3-point road underdog, so they have Carson Wentz as 3-point favorites, and over under of 41.5, which is just absolutely disgusting. Once again, both of the first two games, I have pretty strong leans on a team I think who is going to win the game. I actually would be more confident if it was McCarthy, to be quite honest with you, but I do believe pretty heavy-handedly that Cincinnati's going to win this game. I think Browning has the moxie and the patience and the discipline to go out there and, take his layups to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Chase Brown all day. And I think they'll do enough to, overcome a team that's offensive line is just in absolute shambles. Like, seriously, like they're down starters. They haven't been able to give JJ McCarthy even a split second. And now it's Carson Wentz, who on his career just is kind of, let's be real, just he's all right. He's had some fine moments, but he's not a great quarterback at this stage in his career. And I don't know.
He's already lined up for like the progressive backup QB ads. He's already lined up for that.
For sure. He kind of late stage career. That's kind of his gig. So respect. I think I'll go a little higher scoring than you. I think I'll say 21-17, but I got Cincinnati pretty comfortably in that game as well. So Adrian, why don't you go ahead and set up our next one?
I'll let you, because you're taking this one, right? So I'll swap it around so I can lead the Packers.
Absolutely. That's the way to do it. We have the Houston Texans, the artist formerly known as my Houston Texans, traveling all the way down to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Jaguars, 1.5-point home favorites in a game with a 43.5-point over-under. That's a tough one, man. That's just a tough one because I've said it before. I'll say it again, probably 100 more times. Unfortunately, CJ Stroud has not been fun to watch for the last 2 seasons. He's been on a lot of prime time because Houston's had their moments, but his pocket presence, his pocket manipulation, his pocket awareness just looks abysmal. He's missing guys that are open. He's really kind of wasting the prime of Nico Collins, it feels like right now. I'm one of the biggest Nico Collins fans and believers that there could be. And I'm the guy who has 16 fantasy teams, and I think I might have Nico Collins on 1. And even that feels like too many because I can't
too many somehow.
I just can't watch him be open and not get the ball 20. It feels like every game. And it felt like this down the stretch last year. And I feel like people forgot when he was getting touted this year, but they didn't fix their O-line. They had a tough game against Tampa. They admittedly they did what they had to do to go get the lead, but Houston's a tough team to watch, and Jacksonville's not much easier. Trevor Lawrence, as we've established, has not been him. So I don't know, man. This is kind of like the disappointment bowl.
So accurate.
I unfortunately think I have to pick the Texans to win the game because when an unstoppable force, when a stoppable force meets a movable object, what wins? I think Houston's going to win. I think, I think Jacksonville will move the ball, but I think Trevor Lawrence will make a dumb mistake. I think Houston's defense will make a big play. I think the Texans are going to win this game 23-20.
Yeah, this feels like the game embodiment of this.
Are sirening and the sirens are alarming.
I agree.
whoever loses this game, this feels super unimportant for a divisional game, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's CJ Stroud. This is kind of like, middling CJ Stroud. Lawrence, we've kind of come to accept he's not going to be the guy we thought he was going to be. BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. just dropping. Like, they did that fourth down drop last week that killed the game was just like right on his chest. There was no reason to drop. Man, I would expect MVS to make that kind of catch. Like, so you're right. I feel you with everything you've said about this, and the disappointment bowl. The reason I laughed is I'm disappointed in these teams. No matter who comes out of here, no matter if they look good, I'm like, well, do it against a better team because, man, at the moment, his Colts are red hot, and
that's an interesting talking point that we'll get to for sure.
And don't let me, it's week 3. Just remember week 3 last year, the Saints looked red hot. But I don't know who's going to win this one. I'm going to say the Texans because they feel like, I don't feel like they're going to be an 0-3 team. That I don't feel like they should be an 0-3 team. So let's say the Texans win this. What's the over-under? You got that?
The over-under is 43.5. And I took 23-20, so.
Yeah, that's right where my mind went. But just so we're not the same, I'll say 26-23, which is chalkers. But I just don't know if it's going to be an ugly game.
Yeah, and I do really quick as just a football fan, I have a recommendation. I have discovered a 4-part docuseries on YouTube. It's a classic YouTube channel called SB Nation. I've watched their videos since I was a kid, but they're doing a 4-part docuseries on the history of scoregami. And each episode is like 45 minutes long. You can imagine the audible groaning that my girlfriend let out when she saw me watching a 4-part docuseries on the history of scoregami, but I would heavily recommend it. Check it out. It's really entertaining. I believe 2 episodes are out so far. I'm gonna get some ice cream and watch the second one tonight. I haven't seen it yet. But the first episode is riveting.
I had a really inappropriate joke that I'm not going to make. Maybe I'll tell you off air. But if this was legit after dark, I'd have a really, really good joke.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
Let's maybe private chat that. I'm gonna start teeing you up because I love my little tee ups. Adrian's gonna talk about the 2-0 Green Bay Packers traveling to Cleveland to take on the, I believe, 0-2 Cleveland Browns.
Correct.
Really, they shouldn't. I don't know if they're gonna win a game this year. Definitely not tomorrow. 8.5 point Packer favorite, 41.5 point over under, which is just in an 8.5 spread for the line to be for the over under to be 41.5 is just puke material.
Yeah, look, I think this is going to be a tough game for Browns fans to watch because you're going to be stuck with Joe Flacco still, which is still absurd to me. I don't know why they're starting him, and if I hear this gives us the best chance to win, it's like you don't want to win. You don't want to win, or Joe Flacco wouldn't be a QB1. You see what you got in the kids. Get Dylan Gabriel out there. Get Shadou Sanders out there and see something. But you're going up against there's 2 defenses here that are both strong as hell, man. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bit nervous because I feel like Myles Garrett's going to get right up in Jordan Love's grill. And Jordan Love does not play well under pressure. If you look at his stats and his split under pressure or not, we've been very fortunate that the O-line for the first 2 games has really held the line. So if they can make him really uncomfortable, I don't know if this is going to be a strong, high-scoring game. I don't even know if we're going to hit that 41, but I like to believe that with Micah Parsons now off his snap count likely, or at least ramped up to be off his snap count next week, with Romeo Doubs really playing, he's really stepped up at the moment with the hope that Matthew Golden gets more involved in the game plan. I could see this being a fun game to watch, but there's also there's the world where this is going to be a disgustingly ugly defensive slobber knocker. And if you like that, that's great. And sometimes I do, but not when it's my Packers. I just want them to dominate. So Let's just say the Packers take this one. I don't think I could look you in the eye and go otherwise. But let's make it a fun game. Let's say 28-10. No, 31-10. Let's say they get. I
like it. I like it. I was gonna say 27-9. So we're kind of in lockstep here. I'll for the sake of sprucing, I'll say 27-15. I'll give Cleveland like some garbage, maybe like a garbage time, like Jerry Jeudy touchdown or something. I'm not confident that the Browns can move the football on the Packers, especially given the way that y'all made Jaden Daniels look. Mamma mia. what a defensive performance that was. And Cleveland, yeah, they just don't have it, man. They don't have anything. Like they got some guys. They got I like Judy. I think Judy's a good player. I like Tillman. I like Fannin. They're all
Tillman's come into his own a little bit, hasn't he? Like, what we kind of wanted him to be when he came out of the draft.
yeah, I think they're all going to be cool. I think they're all going to be okay. But I think Green Bay is one of those. I think Green Bay is one of those stifling defenses that are going to give Joe Flacco some fits. If there's a prop out there and multiple Joe Flacco turnovers, I would take that. And I think I would. Yeah, I'm going to go with 27 to. I think I said 15. I think I'll just stick with that for the vibes.
Yeah, and I'll say this though: the only thing, if this wasn't my team, if it wasn't the Packers, my caution here would be you just don't want to be that team that peaks too early, and this kind of has a little bit of a smack of we're peaking too early.
I get that. I totally understand that, but I mean the alternative is that you're not good. So it's
That's
like,
true.
but it's true. You can't sustain true greatness for 17 games. Nobody does. So you do kind of want to get hot at the right time. Which is partly why the fact that my team's winning ugly to some, I obviously whatever. I mean, that Ravens game is cinema. That's going to go down in NFL history. But yeah, I understand the point. I understand the caveat, but I'm here to encourage you to not think in those terms. But it's fair.
I'm feeling, like I said, I'm feeling confident, cautious optimism, and excited. So I won't rant on it too long. But
yeah, I'm a bit devastated that I'm going to have to talk about this game and not our brethren from Indiana, Mr. Jimmy Ray himself from NFL Stats. Normally, when I would do a setup like that, I'd be like, wait a minute, is that Jimmy Ray's music? But that's not happening tonight. It is 11 o'clock where Jimmy is, and he's probably asleep. That's a Saturday. He's probably hitting B-dubs with the boys, watching some college football.
He could be.
I digress. The Colts are 5.5-point road favorites over Cam Ward's Tennessee Titans in an over-under of 43.5. And I don't think Tennessee, this is a fun one. I think this is going to be a fun one to watch. I think Cam Ward, we haven't really gotten that signature Cam Ward game yet. We haven't really gotten that exciting. He looks like a first overall pick, and to the shock of nobody, because he's the first, he's a rookie. These are his first NFL games. He's getting his feet wet. I believe, great quarterbacks have those signature games usually middle to later in their season. Josh Allen's first NFL win was against the Minnesota Vikings in week 3 of his rookie year. And the Bills were, I believe, 17-point underdogs in that game, so it was pretty sick. He jumped over a linebacker.
Did you say 17?
Yeah, they were huge underdogs. Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah. The books took a while to adjust to Josh Allen's greatness, but it's real, man. It's a real thing with rookie quarterbacks. And Cam Ward, people are he's gonna get the criticism because it's what gets people clicks, but he's figuring it out. He's putting some things on tape that don't look great, and I think people are going to glean too much from it. And I think he's going to, midway through the year, he's going to come out on the other side and he's going to be a much better player. And that might start this week. The Colts, they got some pieces on defense. I think, they've been playing pretty well through the first 2 games on defense. They did an okay job on Bo Nix. Ostensibly, they lost that game. If you think about it, with the kick and getting two cracks at it. But it goes down as a W in the column, which is all that matters, right? Ugly wins over pretty losses. But yeah, I think Daniel Jones has another good game. I'm starting him in a couple fantasy leagues.
You drinking the Kool-Aid?
No, I'm personally not. I do have a message from resident legit football collaborator and my on-air rival, Hunter Hunneball. He has 2 messages, actually. Number one, he's apologizing. He called his favorite team idiots. And I said lovable idiots, who I think might beat Kansas City, but we'll talk about that later. And he also said Daniel Jones for MVP, ? Eyeball emoji. So, I think, I don't know if that's a joke or not. Hunter, if you're here, which of course you are, leave it in the comments if you were joking or not. But I had to relay those messages for him.
I mean, he did rip his shirt off and say the New York Giants were going to win. Anyway, I'm not going to take shots while a man's down because that's a hard. The
You
Giants will
know
do
what?
something to him, man.
He did what he had to do, man, and I respect it. I respect it. But I think Daniel Jones keeps the. I think he's staying in the Flames for another week. Tennessee's defense is not going to inspire the fear of God in anyone. Um, I think I think Jonathan Taylor goes out and has a big game. I think
Looks great, Taylor.
has Tyler Warren scored a touchdown yet? He has, right?
I don't know. I don't know if he scored a touchdown, but he's been awesome. He's been
I'm,
like actually a real
yeah,
bright spot.
I'm pretty sure he's going to score a touchdown tomorrow, whether or not he scored one or not. And so I think this is kind of a no-brainer layup, gimme score or outcome, but I do think the Colts are going to win here pretty decisively. I'll say Colts are going to win this one 34-20.
You know what, man? It's weird because Daniel Jones has been the first QB, first team in NFL history to score their first 10 offensive drives. Their punters out there looking like that Pablo Escobar meme where he's just sort of like, what's going on over here? You guys need me? Hey, I'm still here, right here. And full disclosure, right? I write a column for a separate site, so I'm not going to plug it here because this is legitfootball.com, the number one site for all your NFL news. But I write a gambling column, and 2 weeks in a row, I've preyed on Daniel Jones being terrible, and 2 weeks in a row, I've been made a fool of. And I'm not backing down. I'm going 3 weeks in a row. I'm still going to go the under. I don't care what his yards are. I'm still going to put him under. I feel like Daniel Jones' meltdown is but a whisper away. And I feel like this is going to be the moment we're going to get maybe a bit of a Cam Ward spark here. Even though Jonathan Taylor does look awesome, he has turned back the clock to like that. You know, remember he was almost an MVP at one point.
I do remember, 21. I think
he was such a baller, and like he looks
2021.
great. Yeah, he looks excellent again. The Titans need to stop making penalties. Great English, man. Titans need to stop committing penalties and just putting themselves into bad spots because you've got a rookie quarterback who's making mistakes, who's not used to this sort of the speed of the game, and you need to give this guy the ability to get his plays in and get everyone lined up and be put in a position where it's not like 1st and 20. So if they can do that, and I think they're going to do that this week, I think the Titans are going to win. I'm sorry, hear me, Ray, but Daniel Jones, he could be MVP of the season. Hunter Ball could be right, and I'm still not going to admit he's good. I just don't believe in him.
So okay, so we have the first bullheaded Adrian stubborn take of the day,
and I'll say Colts take this one 25-13.
So all that hullabaloo, and you're still going to pick him to win the game.
Did I say Colts? No, sorry, Titans. No, sorry,
okay.
Titans 25-13.
That makes me feel better. That's actually okay.
I wouldn't hullabaloo like that'd be weird.
You're saying that with your chest, so you know the rule on legit football. If you spiel, you gotta stand behind.
Gotta be with your chest.
You spieled, so you know I was gonna hold you to. I was gonna give you a 4 on that.
I had one of 2 spiels ready to go, and the other one I've passed the chance for it, and I'm gonna hold on to it for another day. But I had 2 rants that were in the chamber.
I again, private chat, I want to know these rants. Adrian Revito, you have a game to talk about here. You have the LA Rams at 3.5-point dogs traveling to Philadelphia to take on the reigning Super Bowl champion Eagles with a 44.5-point over-under. We're getting a little spice here with the over-unders here. What do you got for me?
Well, this is an awesome match. This is, you remember their playoff game.
Yep,
they were
classic.
Driving to knock out the Eagles, and I was so sure it was going to happen. That was one bad Stafford throw, which you don't normally get. Saquon has run through the Rams last year, I think, and I could be wrong on this, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he had 3 runs of over 70 yards last year, and they were all against the Rams, all 3 of them. He's just, Saquon Barkley is awesome. They need to get Jalen Hurts passing again, but at the moment, need is absolutely the wrong word there. I want to see Jalen Hurts passing again, but at the moment they don't need to because they're winning the games and their defense is playing great. And if they can do that again here, then I could see them knocking out a win. But I do feel like Jared Verse is going to be up in Jalen Hurts' grill if he can't get the ball out quick enough. So they're going to have to rely on Saquon Barkley. And I just feel like the Rams have been burnt so bad that they're just going to do everything to stop the run. So I don't know how this is going to go. I think this is going to be like a fireworks game. I think it's going to be super close. I don't know how to pick it, but I'm going to give the Eagles a marginal just notch just because they're the Super Bowl champions and they've won the last matchup. So let's say 20. All right, let's no, not 20s. Let's go into the 30s. Let's say 32 to 31 in let's say a kick walk off kick. Can I do it 30? No, 30 to 31 with a walk off field goal.
Absolutely love it, bro. And I like the moxie with which you're calling the game. Feels like you have a good lean. Feels like you have a good hunch on it. You're definitely taking the over. The over under is 44.5.
Oh yeah.
So
I think it's gonna be a fireworks game. It just feels like it's these teams could stamp their authority here as like, hey, we're contenders. I mean, none of
yeah.
the Eagles already kind of have. But.
I feel like this is like a fireworks game, but not like the fireworks you go to the town center to watch. I feel like this is like your cousin's got a box of fireworks and he's lighting them off, and he's gonna accidentally send one into the neighbor's garage, and they're gonna come over and yell at you. And I feel like that's the kind of fireworks we're gonna get. Like, I will take the over because 44.5 for the off caliber of offense that both teams have. I will take the over, but I'm gonna go a little bit more measured. I do think I'm gonna take Philadelphia to win as well. I think the passing attack has to wake up for them to win this game. If it doesn't, I think I will probably I won't. I'm forecasting it too, but if it doesn't, I don't think there's a chance Philadelphia wins this game. I do think Saquon runs all over them, but I think they need to get it in. They need to get it in gear, bro. If Jalen Hurts can't start stringing together some throws down the field, getting AJ Brown, Devontae Smith involved, I think it's going to be a long day at the office for the Eagles. But I do think he will do that, for the record, and I think Philadelphia will win 27-20. 27-22.
Like it.
Yeah, I'm going all weird scores today. Oops, all weird scores.
It's the 4-part series. It's coming out of you, and I like it.
Scorigami. I'm just thinking about scorigamis now because I'm watching the videos. All right, sir. We have the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to Washington to take on the Commanders, and we have.
I'm sorry for the games you're getting here. This hasn't worked out. This wasn't intentional.
You know what, man? Don't be sorry at all. There's absolutely nothing to be sorry about. It's football. We went 7 months without it. So Marcus Mariota versus Geno Smith in the 10 a.m. window on the Pacific time zone is still a gift to me. This is an interesting game. So the Commanders are 2.5-point favorites at home with a 43.5-point over under. Genty has not really got it going at all. In a major way. He's had some nice little flash plays here and there, but he hasn't got it going in a major way. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt had a great week 1, and he had an absolutely abysmal week 2 because of the Packers, probably. And we're now staring down Marcus Mariota, which is probably going to be, unfortunately, this is probably going to be a red zone cutaway game, where you're watching red zone and you just happen to see a couple flashes of this game, and you're reminded that they're playing because red zone cuts to it. I think you got to get Terry McLaurin going, but I don't really know if your backup QB is the way to do that. Deebo Samuel's been good. Admittedly, a lot of his production in week 2 came in garbage time, but he looks like he's more similar to his effective self than he was in his last year in San Francisco. So it'll be interesting to see how they utilize their weapons and how they deploy Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, because the Chargers couldn't really get much of a run game going against the Raiders. The Raiders might have an okay run defense. So can Marcus Mariota beat them with his arm? And he's another one of those.
But he's a backup.
He's another one of those progressive. He's waiting in the wings for the he's next year's progressive commercial. But he was a reigning second overall pick, and he was he was a good player for Tennessee for a couple of years. So respect where it's due. On the Raiders side of the ball, yeah, get Genty going, get Bowers going. We haven't really had like a crazy Bowers game. He's been okay in both games, but I'm looking for like 11, 2 touchdowns, and I think if the Raiders can do that, I think they can win. I do think the Commanders have enough of a DNA after their trip to the NFC Championship game to hold off a team like Geno Smith and Pete Carroll's Raiders. I think I've been a little disappointed by what I've seen from Geno Smith thus far. So I think I'm gonna pick the Commanders to win the game, and I think I'm gonna pick them to win the game 23-17.
Yeah, I'm hardly a Geno truther, so you're not going to get any fight back from me. He was terrible last week.
Really bad last week.
I won a fantasy game my opponent had Geno and needed like 7 points, and I thought it was over, and he just drop the ball, literally. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I have a theory. I have a theory that Bill or Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt's performance is directly linked or directly related to whether I have him in my fantasy starting lineup, because I didn't have him in week 1 and he killed it, and I put him in week 2 and then he sucked. So I think that's what it is, and I believe we're playing off in the legit. No, in one of our leagues, you and I are playing off this week.
We're in 3 now, bro.
Yeah, no, but we're against each other this week, and I had Tyreek Hill on the bench. So stupid. Anyway, this is not about my fantasy team. I think you're right. I think the Raiders take this one because I think they're going to need to get Genty going. We just, you know what, for all the running back rookies that were so exciting, they've all kind of laid an egg a little bit. Like they've all kind of, worked their way into it. Normally running backs is one of those positions where you can kind of get them going early and strong and early. But let's hope we get the Genty game that we kind of want. What did you say, 23-17?
I did.
Yeah, okay. I think this will be an ugly game. I'm going to say 17-16. I think it's going to be kind of ugly field goaly.
And you had the Raiders winning, correct?
Yes.
I did. I picked the Commanders to win. So I think, is that our first different pick?
Might be.
No, you picked the Titans as well.
True.
All right. Well, this is the fun game of the week in the opening slate, I think.
This is the Me Bowl. This is like my off-season darlings versus my Baker Mayfield. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this game, and then I'm going to need maybe 30 seconds where I'm going to need you to posture while I disappear for a quick second.
Yeah, absolutely. Is the kiddo awake?
No, he's asleep still, but I'm just going to need to do something to make sure he remains asleep. So just go drop tear gas in his room. No.
Yeah, right. Literally.
So look, this is my darling team here. You know that we haven't had a good run with the legit football darling teams. We are collectively, I believe, 1-7 through 2 weeks. So
and that one is who's darling?
Look, I'm not sure. I'd have to look into it. Yeah, it's who could say? Who could really say?
Really?
Who or what are we if not a construct of humanity?
Yeah, I was gonna say my darling team's 500. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah, that's mine is 0-2, and they looked good in 1 week and they looked terrible in the next. And Justin Fields is out, and they're starting to look Jetsy again, and I don't like it.
Yeah, they need to stop doing that.
On the other hand, right? So like with Justin Fields out, you might get a kind of more tempered game. You would hope. We want Aaron Glenn, right? You want defensive, you want strong, you want physical, and it doesn't seem that way so far, but the offense did look functional, and hopefully with Tyrod Taylor, he's your boy. He broke your playoff drought, and I'll always remember him for that.
Love Tyrod Taylor.
So, yeah, is it Tyrod or Tyrod? I remember hearing it was Tyrod.
He was Tyrod when he was in Buffalo. There was some talks that it was different. I always, this whole Bijan thing just reminds me that it's, I don't, if the pronunciation, please get on me, I'll fix it. But until then, he's Tyrod.
Yeah. Look, I hear you on that. On the other side of the ball, the Bucks are looking awesome. Like Baker Mayfield is looking awesome. And spoiler alert, my little rant, it involves Baker Mayfield and involves the fact that he got sent out the door from a team that picked up Deshaun Watson. So there's a little teaser for you, but I'm not going to get into it.
Bums.
He is looking awesome, man, and he's Ibuka is looking like an absolute smash hit. So this will be an interesting one because Baker Mayfield he has his games every once in a while where he just starts throwing it up and making bad choices, and you got Sauce Gardner who's looking pretty good. I think this will be closer than people want it to be. I think Todd Bowles is going to keep Tyrod Taylor kind of confused. I'm going to say the Bucks take this. I almost want to go the Jets just because I want that to happen. Let's say the Bucks take it. I'm going to say 22-17, but I think it's going to be even closer on paper. I feel like there could be a mistake or two by the Jets. Maybe it's I don't want to say like a running into the punter because I know that just happened with your Bills, but like something like an unnecessary roughness that continues a drive that should have ended there. That makes this the way it is. I think it's going to be super, super close. Can I let you posture for 30 seconds?
Yeah, I'll posture. So I'll give some intel that I wasn't able to give at the top of the preview. We have Jets plus 6.5 at Tampa Bay, just to make that clear. We have the over-under set at 43.5, and also Armand has been catching us up on news with some A-bombs. Braden Fisk, who is questionable with an oblique injury, will play today against the Eagles. Bucks wide receiver Emeka Egbuka is listed as questionable, but he will be playing with no limitations. 3 Jets out: Jermaine Johnson, Josh Reynolds, Tony Adams. Jermaine Johnson, that's a pretty impactful out. Brady Cook will back up Tyrod Taylor, and safety Dean Clark will back up rookie Moore. So my personal thoughts on this game are that I agreed with Adrian on the darling pick. I actually thought about taking the Jets as my own personal darling pick. it was really difficult to go with the Patriots because I do objectively hate the Patriots more than I hate the Jets. But I had to just go with the gut. The board speaks to me. I just listen to the board. I couldn't manipulate the intel I was getting. So I will say I think this game is going to be just about as interesting as Adrian advertised. I think the Bucks offense will have an okay time moving the ball. I don't think the Jets defense is as stifling as they were throughout the years. Adrian, were you hearing all that as I was saying it?
I was not, but I agree with it somehow because I know
Great.
I know what your analysis is like.
Great. Well, no, I was just saying I updated everybody on the over under and the spread because I wasn't able to do that with you. So you're taking Jets plus 6.5, correct?
Yep. Just.
Yeah. And so yeah, I was just kind of saying I did consider the Jets heavily for my darling. I ended up going with the Patriots. I let the board speak to me. I can't manipulate what the board says. It's the ether. I can't.
You're a purist like that. You are a purist.
It's the ether. I let it come to me. But I think the Bucks will have an easier time moving the ball against the Jets than you might think because the Jets kind of have a reputation for having a vaunted defense, defensive coordinator or defensive head coach, I should say. I haven't really been too impressed with them through 2 games. I mean, I know they played, 2 MVPs in the first 2 weeks. Admittedly, Aaron Rodgers' other MVP came in the Obama administration. No, that's not true. Actually, he won one like 5 years ago. But regardless,
he's not that guy anymore. We can agree with that.
We can all agree that he's not that guy anymore. But and Josh Allen. But even the Bills, I feel like the Bills didn't really have to hit the gas at all in that game. I feel like they could have scored 45 or 50 if they needed to. This is another season where we're going to get fourth quarter Mitch Trubisky handoffs and kneel downs, which, for the stat merchants out there, the Josh Allen is an MVP stat merchant. Just count the minutes he sits out games. He's like Steph Curry in his prime with the Warriors. But I digress. I think the Buccaneers are going to move the ball. That was the point. I think Bucky Irving's going to have a good game. I think Mike Evans is going to get into the end zone. I love Bucky Irving. He's so fun to watch, bro. He was terrific the other night. And now Rachaad White in a more complimentary role is looking even better. I'm stoked about it. I'm stoked about the Bucks, man. Ibuka, how can you not like Emeka Ibuka?
Such a fun team, aren't they? They really are.
I would love to see the Jets offense do something, and I would love to think that the ghost of Highmark Stadium will ignite something in Tyrod Taylor, but I don't see Tyrod Taylor having a good enough game to keep up with the Bucks. So while I think the Jets will put some points on the board, I don't think it's going to be anything material. I don't think it's going to be anything that will tip the scales in their favor to win the game. So I'll take the Bucks in this one. And I do think they'll put up points. I do think they'll put up a good amount of points. I'll say 38-17. I apologize for that, Armand.
Just looking at the comments, we have
I caught him up. I caught him up on almost all of them except for this one. Giants center left tackle Andrew Thomas, who has yet to play this season while recovering from a low sprain injury, is planning to make his debut on Sunday. So that's good news.
That's a big upgrade for them. We'll get to them. That is a big upgrade.
Some big news. And Armand, our resident Jets fan, not happy with the secondary or the defense.
Understandably.
Agreed. So I'll take it away here with my offseason darling
Yo,
team.
boys.
I did almost throw up in my mouth as I said that. The New England Patriots, who are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Patriots are 1.5 point home dogs. How you finna be a home dog against Aaron Rodgers? I just, I think the books are wrong here. I'll be honest. I think the Patriots should be favored here, but the books, as I said earlier, they're just not caught up. They don't know about Drake May's greatness yet. Armand is predicting the Jets will win 24-17. Armand, I love you, bro. Never change. Never change. He's just crapping on his team, and then he goes, "They're gonna win."
Love.
Well, he's like, they suck. Their secondary is terrible," and then they're gonna win.
Love it.
I do absolutely love it. Yeah. So I for the Patriots Steelers, this is gonna be. I think this is gonna be a good game to watch. I think this is gonna be a fun one. I don't know if it's gonna be a shootout per se. Because I think there could be some ugly football. Both teams have played some ugly football so far this year. But over under 44.5. I think will the real Travion Henderson please stand up?
Thank you.
Because I have, I like
was hanging to make this point.
I like what Ramondre did last week. I'm really happy about his explosion because I've liked Ramondre in the past. I've kind of he's been put out to pasture by the Patriots. I've kind of just followed their lead. I feel like they've shown us what they think of him, and I've kind of said, okay, you think he sucks? You think you're the guy you paid all that money to sucks? Okay, then he sucks. But then he goes out last week and has a phenomenal game. Really is the reason they won that game in a lot of ways. I think the Steelers have to get DK Metcalf going. Patriots, I believe, still without Christian Gonzalez.
He might be making his debut this week, which would be huge for them.
So if he plays and he's 100%, it's a little bit more the DK Metcalf. The DK Metcalf party would have fewer attendance for sure if Gonzalez plays. But I'm inclined to think that the Steelers will put together a good game plan on offense. Rodgers, to some degree, still has it. We've seen that through 2 weeks. I don't know if it's anything special, but I think this game's going to come down to whether or not Drake May can convert enough against the Steelers defense, who looked pretty beatable through the first 2 weeks. They might not be all that, which is weird to say in the Mike Tomlin era, that the Steelers might not have a special defense. But I don't know. I think Drake May can go out there, and I think Drake May can put up 25 to 30 points, and I think that'll be enough to beat the Steelers with Rodgers at the helm. So I will take the Steelers to win this game. I'm sorry, the Patriots to win this game, my offseason darling, and start out 2-1 and catapult them to second in the AFC East. I will say that they're going to win this game 24-20.
Downgraded to out. Sorry, Gonzalez out. I thought he might be making.
There you go. Appreciate you for checking on that, Armand. So therefore, I think DK Metcalf still goes crazy. Doesn't change my prediction. I just think it'll be a little prettier for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because like Rodgers is sneaky weird. He's had the most turnover worthy throws in the NFL as a starting QB. So, which is unlike him because he's normally Mr. Safe. He likes to protect his stat sheet sometimes as well.
Yeah.
I'm with you on this. I think the Pats should be favored here. I do feel like they can't stop the run. So I just want to see Trayvon Henderson. Just the talk about him, and this is what kills me about offseason talk, was like, this dude is God. You know, Genty, who that's what they thought about him, and it's like he's barely touched the ball. So I want to see the Patriots take this. I'm going to say 26-19. I think this might be a fun one. I think, Pats fans might be in for a fun game.
Yeah, I don't know what the books are doing with their Patriots disrespect, because
crazy.
They were the ones who put the Patriots at 8.5 wins before the season, and now Patriots were dogs to Miami last week, and now they're dogs to Pittsburgh this week. I don't understand. I'm not picking up what the books are putting down. I think there's some cognitive dissonance there. Nevertheless, we have the Broncos and the Chargers. The Broncos are 2.5 point. Is that it from the morning slate? Look at that. The Broncos are 2.5 point road dogs in LA, and with a 45.5 point over under. Adrian, take it away.
All right. The Chargers have been really fun. I feel like the Chargers are one of those teams where every year, you know what the Chargers feel like? They're kind of like every year's our year, a little bit Bears-ish, but it feels different this year. And I feel like Harbaugh is obviously the turning point here. He's been the one to come in and kind of make them feel like a real team. But they looked great against the Chiefs. Their defense is so like it's engulfing. And Bo Nix, I'm not out on him yet. Someone in one of our football leagues tried to trade me for Nix, and I'm like, I'm not ready to send the ship out to sail yet, because I feel like, last year he had a lot of success in the short game and these quick passes and, these quick screens. Like, they can't do that again this year because there's obviously tape out on him now, but they do need to pick up his game a little bit. But I don't think it's going to be in this game. I think the Chargers are just like, on top of Herbert playing great and Quentin Johnson suddenly knowing how to catch the ball. I'd love to see Amarian Hampton. Speaking of rookies that haven't lived up to the hype, would love to see him come out, but I do think this is going to be Chargers all day. I think that the Broncos defense will keep it a little bit closer than we expect, but I'm going to say 23-20 Chargers, but I just think this is one of those games where, like, all right, 3-point difference and in the final score, but it will not feel that way. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack out, I should say, which is bad for them.
That is definitely bad for them. I joined a pick pool this year, and I'm participating with couple of my closest friends out here who we all watch football together. We call ourselves the Lavender Girls. They're all girls, so I guess I'm the lavender and they're the girls. I guess that's how we're doing it. But this was a tough game for me.
Charlie's Angels situation. Is that what it is?
Something like that. Lavender's Angels. We could workshop it. I'm trying to figure out, Adrian, because I stayed away from this game. You get to pick your own 7. You get to pick your own 7 picks, so it kind of gives you some power. It kind of gives you the chance to hand pick the lot of what you're picking. It's a really fun way to do it, and you get the spread. So they wanted to pick this game, and I said I don't. I think smart money stays away from this game because of how volatile it could be.
I get that.
We do have the Bo Nix being the stud who brought them to the playoffs last year. We do have they're 1-1 or are they 0-2?
Broncos, yeah. No, 1-1, I believe.
1-1. Yeah, because they kind of won. They beat Tennessee week 1. And it wasn't anything special. Yeah, I this is a tougher one. I'll say this. I want to make a public announcement. This is really important, actually. So there's talks of if your MVP pick gets hurt in the first month of the season, you get a reroll. Can we agree upon that, Adrian?
Yep, cool with that.
My MVP pick was Joe Burrow.
Okay.
So I get a reroll.
Superstitiously, you can do it.
Superstitiously, I stay away from picking Josh Allen because the years I picked him, he didn't win, and I didn't pick him last year, and he won. So superstitiously, I'm not going to pick Josh Allen. And I'm also on the record of saying Justin Herbert's not a top 5 quarterback.
Many times, many a time.
Many times, and even as recently as this year. I think I'm going to pick Justin Herbert to win NFL MVP this year. That's my reroll pick. Oof. I like what I've seen so far. I just like what I've seen. He's been. I might have seen that scenario that just played out. I might have seen that exact scenario on a sports clip this week. So apologies if I literally just plagiarized anybody, but it was going through my head, and I realized that I didn't have an MVP pick, and I need to get one for the record on this podcast. And so I think that might have been directly inspired by something I saw. But Herbert he's playing lights out.
He does. He's playing. I agree with you. It's just weird to hear you say
it. If I've always said that if he ever put it on tape, or if he ever was that guy, and it wasn't just hypothetical, which he gets the joking hypothetical memes. Him and actually Burrow as well are the two that get the most hypothetical, like if they call them like if man or whatever, because there's all these stipulations to their lack of success. I think Justin Herbert's putting it together, and I think Harbaugh's taking the leash off. He's letting him go be great, and I feel like it'll be interesting to see if it continues. In the past, this has cooled off. I don't know if it cools off this year. I think they might be a threat in the AFC, like a legitimate threat. Yep. And obviously, I don't love saying that as a diehard Bills fan. I'd love for there to be no threats. I'd love for the threats to be eradicated. But that being said, I only call it, like I said, intellectual honesty. I think the Chargers win this game pretty comfortably. No disrespect to the Broncos. I'm sure they'll claw their way back into wild card contention at some point. Just haven't been overly impressed through 2 games. I will take the Chargers to win this game 28-24.
What I will say, all right? The Chargers, if they win this game, if they do win this game, all right, there is absolutely a world where the Raiders lose, and there is, believe it or not, a very small chance of a world where the Chiefs lose too.
Oh, we can talk about that,
and we'll get there, and that could give them a 2-game lead already. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely,
that world exists.
All right, we're gonna keep chugging. We're gonna pick up the speed just a hair here. We have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the New Orleans Saints in probably one of the biggest snooze fests of the week. I think that 7-point spread for Seattle is a little disrespectful to what Sam Darnold accomplished with the Vikings last year. Sam Darnold is a better quarterback than being 7-point favorites over Spencer Rattler, in my opinion. Maybe this is an indictment of the rest of the Seahawks roster, but they are 0-2, and they probably should have beat San Francisco week 1. And they beat Pittsburgh, didn't they, week 2? So they're 1-1.
Yeah, they're 1-1.
They're 1-1. You'd think DraftKings would put their records on the damn betting sheet. Come on, that's how they get you. But 7-point home favorites against Spencer Rattler and the Saints with a 41.5 point over/under, which is pretty grossly low. Seahawks are the 2-headed monster at running back with Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet, but I believe Charbonnet's out tomorrow, which is pretty big for double check that for me. But I believe Charbonnet's out, which is big for Ken Walker. JSN, I heard, was a little banged up, or ill actually. He came down with an illness late in the week, so monitor that if you're a fantasy owner. But I think all signs point to him playing. Most guys play through illnesses. unless you're soft. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Anthony Richardson. No.
If I was sick, I wouldn't try to play football. Absolutely not. As the world knows, men's colds are the worst ailment you can have.
100% agree.
There's nothing documented worse than a cold if you're a man. But I think this is gonna be a fun game in a sense of I think the Seahawks are gonna run all over the Saints. I think Rattler will get something going. He's not as bad as we all thought he was. He's a little
No.
better than we all thought he was. He might be able to parlay this into a future as a backup. Because he's not throwing up all over himself, which is what I thought he would do. So credit where it's due. I think this is a no-brainer. Seahawks take the win, and I think it's probably pretty comfortable. I'll say 27-10.
Okay.
In a not pretty maybe at times slightly fun only from the fireworks that Seattle's offense produces. Being respectful, just the Saints. I love Alvin Kamara. He's a good player. He's a good fantasy start this week. He's a good fantasy start every week. He's a good player, through his career. Olave is alive, which is amazing news.
I'm looking scared at my baby monitor.
We're looking scared at the baby monitor, but we'll be paying attention. It's all good. Okay. Like I said, if you got a boogie, you got a boogie, and I can finish out the show alone. It's all good. Olave is getting his targets, and he's not getting concussed again. So that's really all you can hope for. Jawan Johnson's been a fun story. I feel like I owe it to the Saints to at least talk a little bit about them, but I think it's comfortable. Seattle takes it 27-10.
Yeah. And they have to win this game. They're the only not 2-0 team in their division. And they can't, if you want Sam Darnold to do something here, and he has been okay. Sam Darnold's been fine. You're right. They probably should have won that first game against the Niners, but you need to take this game against a pretty terrible Saints team. Their secondary is just horrible, and actually, it's meant to be anchored by Marshawn Lattimore. He's been making mistake after mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. There was a stat through the first 3 passes of a game where he committed a unnecessary roughness and 2 big completions, and he's just been making problems for a Saints team where he's meant to be one of the sort of stalwarts. So I think the Seahawks take this. I agree with you on that. I don't think you can afford to lose this one. I'll give him a little bit more. I'll give him 27-18. I'll give the Saints a little bit something because Kellen Moore, he's been doing okay for a team that he's picked up a pretty. I don't know how to say this without swearing, but he's just picked up a poor team. So yeah,
there's reason to be optimistic for the Saints. Honestly, there really is. So we got 2 425 games. We're going to start off with the Arizona Cardinals, 2.5-point road dogs against the San Francisco 49ers with a 44.5-point over under. Adrian.
Yeah, so this is, Mac Jones is confirmed in on this at this stage. So this is interesting to me that, so Cardinals are dogs. I guess they're on the road. That makes sense. The Cardinals are 2-0, but they don't feel 2-0, which is interesting to me. So their 2-0 is against, I believe, the Panthers and Saints. Don't quote me on that, but I think.
And they tried everything in their power to lose to the Panthers.
Yeah, correct. So I think they're going to be getting their proper first real test here. It's interesting because the Cardinals brought in Jonathan Gannon because his ability to slow down a Shanahan offense. And that's kind of what you got to do in the NFC West is you got McVay and Shanahan in your division. You either stop them or beat them with your own offense. And so I feel like the Cardinals swang to the defense because they're not going to find someone better. And so this is kind of that test now. It's this is why we brought you in here. Beating the Saints and beating the Panthers does not get you flowers. They need to get Marvin Harrison the ball a little bit more, a lot more if you own him in fantasy, but a little bit more at least because I feel like you spent top 5 draft capital. He was top 5?
I think so. Top 5, I think so.
You spent that draft capital. You need to get that guy the ball. The Niners are going to go through Christian McCaffrey because Mac Jones is a serviceable backup and he managed the offense just fine. Yeah. He did make some mistakes that Brock Purdy probably wouldn't have made, even not that Brock Purdy's perfect by any means. But yeah, and Ricky Pearsall's going to get the ball. He's awesome. I think we talked about him before the season being.
He was definitely a fantasy flag plan of yours. I like him quite a bit as well, but I think that's really a victory lap you can take.
I've tried to get him in leagues, and I've been giving up far more than what people thought he was worth at the time, and I couldn't get him, and I'm spewing. So, I think the Niners are gonna take this one because I don't think the Cardinals are gonna have the juice to kind of keep up with him, even with Mac Jones.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's always hard with it. I don't really know how to pick it. I'm going to pick it as a close game. I'm going to say 21-20. I think I've used that score already because I'm just going to give it a 1 point difference because I don't. Divisional games are weird.
They are, dude.
And this is particularly weird one because you've got a defense that is in theory meant to be able to stop a Shanahan offense. Whether it goes that way, let's see.
Yeah, I gotta give mad props. I think that's a solid breakdown. I think I completely agree about the Cardinals. I don't know if I've ever seen. You said they were 2-0. I don't know if I've ever seen a
Yeah,
worse 2-0 team.
it's fair.
I can't stand watching them play football. Kyler Murray is just. I just don't. I think he's like Trevor Lawrence light in terms of disappointment. Like the expectations weren't as high, so it's a little less of a colossal downfall. But he is just again not him. You know, he's got special traits, and he looks average on film, and he makes ridiculous decisions, and he puts them behind the eight ball all the time, and he's not establishing chemistry with his number one wide receiver through 2 years. Marvin Harrison, really, honestly, free Marvin Harrison. It feels like,
Yeah.
to be quite honest with you.
Short King's taking an L in the NFL for sure.
Yeah, and I'm not crazy. I don't obviously on this podcast I used to dog people who said Mac Jones was a legitimate NFL quarterback, and now that he's a backup once again, he's kind of on the Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota career path. I kind of think he's fine. I think he's
Very
a fine
serviceable.
backup.
Very serviceable as a
He
backup.
does what Purdy does just fine, and he did fine in Jacksonville last year. I love when guys are in the roles that they belong in. It just makes me feel so much better because they don't have to get dogged. Like, they don't have to get panned for not being better. It's like, this is what you should expect him to be. This is what Mac Jones always should have been.
Correct.
And you know, they thought he was the second coming of Brady, and he was really the second coming of Matt Castle. You know, and that's fine. Good for you.
And I love cold, and I love it. It's very good.
You know, it is what it is. Not trying to be mean, but I just think the Niners have the weaponry, and I think the Cardinals are such a bad team that this is a no-brainer. And I might even with Mac Jones, I might even take more than those 2.5 points. I'll say San Francisco wins this one 27 to, I'll say 13.
Look, like I said, it's this game could go crazy blowout, and it could be down to the final seconds. Like I just don't. Sometimes with divisional games and certain teams, I just don't know.
Yeah, I just have no faith in the Cardinals.
And I don't want to pretend like I'm not touching this game with any sort of money. Not even pretend like I wouldn't bet Monopoly currency.
I'm looking at it 2.5, and I'm thinking about putting currency behind it. We have the Dallas Cowboys traveling to Chicago to take on the Chicago Bears, and it's a 1.5 point spread. You know who's favored?
Please, it's got to be the Cowboys. It's got to be.
So it opened. The books opened with Chicago as 1.5 point home favorites against Dallas. It has swung. The line has swung. Dallas. It's got to just be the money, yeah. Because I mean, I know one of those picks that I had in that office pool was no brainer. It was Dallas plus 1.5. I was like, yeah, I'm freaking taking Dallas. I think Dallas is going to win outright. Give me points, and it's easy. 49.5 point over under. So Vegas is projecting a shootout. That's going to be fun. I'm excited about this game. I think Dallas's defense through 2 weeks has been also abysmal. So if Caleb Williams has anything in the tank, we're going to find out this week. There's quite a bit of weapons for Chicago to feed. I'd love for them to get Colson Loveland going. It's been disappointing watching him play football through the first 2 weeks, but I don't know if it's his fault. I love DJ Moore. I'm kind of on a free DJ Moore train as well. But Roma Dunze, the chemistry with Roma Dunze is looking money. And, I've always been a huge Roma Dunze fan. I traded up with Buffalo in our legit mock that year to get him for the Bills because I think so highly of his talent. And now he's finally getting a chance to show that he's a wide receiver one. He's an alpha, and it's going to be fun to watch. Meanwhile, Dallas, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, well-oiled machine. Dak Prescott looks as good as he's looked. I think he's going to go out there and spoon feed those guys targets. It's going to be fun to watch. I think there's going to be some fireworks in this game. That over/under is looking pretty spot on. I think I'll take the over just because I think it'll be decided on the later possessions. I don't think Chicago can keep up with Dallas. I'll say Dallas wins this one 36-27.
Yeah, I mean, this is a hard one because the Bears are out Jalen Johnson as well, which, at the moment, I understand that the Cowboys kind of let Russell Wilson almost cook them alive. Like I understand that, but you cannot. No one can tell me that Dak Prescott is playing bad this season. He looked great against the Eagles. He looked great against the Giants. And you're going to take a defense that has not been doing well. You're going to take out their best cornerback by far. I just don't know if I could see the Bears stopping the slide here. I stand by a point that it's early to victory lap, so I'm not going to victory lap, but I'm going to say that a point that I made earlier in the offseason is coming true. They rebuilt the offensive line. They didn't fix it yet. We don't know that, and you can't just slap the pieces together.
Not gelling.
Yeah, it really isn't. And that's the thing, man. Like with this sort of stuff, people see big free agency pickups and they're like, oh, they fixed it. It's just not the way it works, man. Continuity is such a big piece of it. There was a couple of years where the Vikings had like this dominant offensive line. It's because they had the same players for 3 years in a row. Like it was crazy, their continuity. So I think the Cowboys take this one. I'm with you. I would take them. I'd take them plus 1.5, 100%. I'll say 27-24. I don't think it's going to be as close as that to the eye test. It's hard for me to not be a hater because the Bears are probably but you can't tell me that the Bears have looked good this season. You can't tell me that Ben Johnson's fixed problems, and Caleb Williams. You can't tell me that until he shows it, he's still the hype bunny. He's not there yet. And he's making bad mistakes and he's putting them in bad situations and he's holding onto the ball too long. He's not seeing the field sometimes. So I don't know, man. You're going to have Eberflus on the other side. Eberflus revenge game quietly. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I love it. We both got the over there. So, I mean, all the things that we're locked in on. When you go do your betting, just run this episode back and just pay attention to the things that we're in lockstep on and just do a little parlay. Do a little legit parlay and just throw me a bone when you win. Next up, Adrian's going to kick us off talking about Hannibal's offseason darling team, New York Football Giants, at home, 6 point. Pretty shockingly low line. Yeah. 6 point home dogs against the reigning AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs, who are 0-2, I might add. Little victory
first time in Mahomes' career, we all know it. I don't know about that. Look, I've been predicting the Chiefs' downfall, so I'm cautious to sort of since we started this show, I've been saying they're going to downfall, and since then they've won a Super Bowl and went to another. So, but this team does feel out of sorts. It does feel like Travis Kelce's not. We know he's not the guy he's meant to be, but he was meant to be a complimentary, and now they're trying to feed it through him again because of the injuries and with Rashee Rice out, and he injures Xavier Worthy. So it's just there's a lot going on.
Tough year for Kelce. Apart from the engagement.
Correct. Yeah. He
injures his teammate, drops a ball that turns into a pick that costs his team the game.
Yeah, it feels like maybe the chips aren't falling on their side. I don't know if this is true. I saw something about Patrick Mahomes saying they feel like the cards are stacked against them. I don't know if that's true. That seems meme-worthy to talk about the refs. So, yeah, don't quote me on that he actually said that. Look, honestly, I'm going to – so this is a weird one. The Giants looked great last week. But weirdly, they look great on offense, which is the opposite of what you'd expect. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I do, I've been very non-committal this episode. I haven't been nearly as like, this is how it's going to happen. But I do think I'm going to pick the Giants here. Is that weird? I'm going to pick.
No, I'm contemplating it.
Yeah, if there was a year for KC to go down 0-3, this is it. I don't think they've got things going on. That's not taken away from Patrick Mahomes. He's still Patrick Mahomes, but there's too much against him at the moment. There's so much pass rush on this team that they're going to be up and making him uncomfortable. And look, unlike most quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes thrives in that, but he just doesn't have the personnel to do it this time. He can't have people open the way, if you remember last year and the year before, every time you saw Kelce, he had like no one within 10 yards of him. Like that doesn't happen anymore. He doesn't have that speed. He doesn't have that movement. So I'm going to pick the Giants to win this. And I'm going to say 24-17. No, I don't think there's going to no field goals. Let's say, hold on a second. Let me think about this. 24-21. And I think it's going to come down to the Giants just holding onto the ball and be the last team to possess.
I gotta let you cook, man. I'm not gonna interrupt the greatness when the wheels are turning, man. We always, both of us will randomly just snipe something crazy on this show. So I like it. I've obviously been preying on the Chiefs' downfall. I think the smart money and the sensical football fan of me is screaming that Kansas City is going to win this game easily. But I saw something in the Giants last week, and I saw something in Russell Wilson for the first time since his Seattle days, and that was a dog. He looked like a damn dog. Like, he was in there, man. He went and made plays. Who do the Chiefs have that are gonna go shot for shot with Malik Neighbors? Honestly, nobody. And Mahomes, it's such a weird, fluky season for their offense. He's running the ball like crazy, which is like kind of nuts. Like he's kind of on a Lamar, Josh Allen path this year as a runner, which
it's because he has to be though.
It's because he has to be, and
it's
Yeah, I'll never feel bad for him. But if I had 1 ounce of sympathy in my body for him, I would say, oh, I feel bad for him. He's like such a great player, and he's out there trying to build a plane with duct tape and toothpicks and rubber bands. It's not pretty.
If he had 1 Super Bowl instead of 3, the parallels to Aaron Rodgers would be absurd. The people that will be saying that they're not giving him enough, and he should have 7, but he's gonna have none. Like that, I feel like that would be the narrative. It's not going because he's won 3, but it feels that way where it's kind of like they expect him to do everything on offense, and he can't do it all.
I would care for him a lot more if he had 1 instead of 3, or even 0.
Wouldn't we all?
I obviously hate him for that reason. I think the Giants are gonna pop off here and make a statement to the world, and there's gonna be national headlines Monday morning. Swifties are gonna be crying. There's gonna be reaction videos, and the Giants are gonna win 31-27 shootout.
You feeling this Cam Scatterboo?
Nah, he's all right. He's good. He's a good player.
I'm not bought in yet. I know he
that's
played
your
well
guy.
Last week.
That's your guy.
No, he's not my guy. Did I take him? Did I say he's my guy?
I don't remember. I thought he might have been.
No, he's not mine. I don't think he's. If anything, I thought he was overhyped. And if I hear someone else say he runs angry,
I like Tracy. Tracy's the incumbent. Same.
Yeah, and he deserves to stay there.
So last one, and we did a good job talking about every game. We did not do a good job keeping it brief, and that's nothing new for us.
This stage,
we have the Detroit Lions traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Ravens are 4.5-point home favorites, and I do believe this has the potential to be the best game of the week. We're staring down an over-under, my friend, of 53.5, which is just poetry. If you're a bettor and a fantasy player and all that, this should be a fun one. Lamar Jackson, 1-1. He had a take out his anger on the little brother game last week after he sadly lost to his own big brother in week 1. I'm just kidding, Ravens fans.
Are you though?
Be honest with yourself. The Bills have had the Ravens number. Apart from that one game last year, the Bills have had the Ravens number. And obviously the game matters. That's going to be played between them in January. So I digress. Lamar Jackson really took out his anger from that week 1 game against Cleveland. And meanwhile, Jared Goff did the exact same thing to Chicago. I just realized that. That's so funny. Both quarterbacks who were both in the MVP discussion last year, both went out and absolutely put up points.
And just mauled. They really did. It was like cathartic for both of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, unbelievable. So I think the Ravens are a better football team. I think they have a better defense. I think they have a better run game, but that's really hard to say given Gibbs and Montgomery are on Detroit. I just think Lamar and Derrick Henry is the best 1-2 punch of runners in the league. And, Gibbs, Montgomery might be in the top 3. And I secretly think Allen Cook are playing their way into that conversation as well, but we can talk about that a different day. I think Detroit's going to have to throw on Baltimore. That is how you beat them. And we've had one good game without Ben and one bad game without Ben. So we'll see if they can string together enough success to go and steal a game. I don't think they can. Sorry, Anthony. I hope they do, but I don't think they can. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a shootout again. Probably whoever has the ball last or later will win. Probably whoever makes less crucial mistakes. I'll take Baltimore in this one. I'll say 37-32.
Yeah, I think, look, everything you said is on the money. And the thing is as well, like, yeah, they both went out and beat up on bad teams the next week. But, like, Lamar beat up on the Browns, who have an excellent defense. They've just got nothing going for them on offense. Whereas the Bears, respectfully, again, like, beating up on the Bears defense is not that impressive. But it's still impressive the way they did it. And they still did it in Dan Campbell style. So I'm not going to take away from it. I think I can't see the Ravens dropping this game, and I feel like they can't afford to drop this game. Whoever wins this game is kind of going to put their team out there as like, hey, we're true contenders. We're the real ones. We're the ones that usually you're going to see in the playoffs and to worry about. So I understand they're in different conferences, but I do feel like that's the way it's going to go. Derrick Henry kind of disappeared in their throbbing, so it'd be good to see him get back in. Yeah, but look, it is weird. But I say I really rate the Browns' defense, especially their run defense. Like I feel like Josh Jacobs is going to disappear this week too. So, not to take it back to my team. So
I do it all the time.
Yeah. Look, this is, and I mean, the Ravens don't have Kyle Van Noy. He was their leading sacker last year, so that's going to be hard. He's got a hamstring injury. If they can just keep Goff under pressure, and that is the key to the Lions. You can tell me whatever you want. Your key is just to make Goff uncomfortable, and if you can do that, he makes mistakes, and he's not good. And they have to rely on the run game, and then they're one dimensional, and that's the way to beat the Lions, I think. So I think the Ravens take this. I think this is going to be like a stellar game, and I could just imagine this being like an instant classic. Let's say this is really 54 was the 53 and a half. Like 53. I feel like so my mind went straight to 31-24, which would be right on that number. Let's stick with that. Yeah, 31-24.
31-24.
It's going to be an awesome game though. Really look forward to this one.
I went high scoring, man, 37-32. So, but I think we both got Baltimore in this one, and no disrespect to Detroit, they're going to be 1-2, and it's going to be a blemish, but they'll right the ship. I actually, unfortunately, before the Micah Parsons trade, I bet on Detroit to win the division, and I can't even sell my shares now. Nobody wants to buy that.
Yeah, look, it's definitely not out of the question, and I don't feel like unless the Lions get absolutely like trounced here, I don't think it's any cause for panic just yet. Like
panic, no, but winning but being in the conversation to win the division is at 1-2
will be hard. Look, you never know. Like I said, like I still am not 100% in the Packers are winning this week, so you don't know, and they could be just one game behind.
You sound like me with the Bills and the Dolphins and the Jets. I know. You got to mitigate. You got to be respectful. But anyways, gang. Wow, another week, and it's hour 22, and Adrian's son is still asleep. The tear gas worked.
Yeah.
We had Armand in the chat holding it down as usual, giving us all the updates. Gonzalez out, Deron Bland out. We appreciate you so much, Armand. You truly are legit football's resident. Adam Schefter. Yeah. 618 people watching. We appreciate you all as well. I'm hoping that we can get a huge surge of comments and likes and shares. We love what we do with Legit Football. Legitfootball.com. Subscribe for free daily newsletter every day in your inbox. Best way to get your football news, obviously. Goes without saying. But check out this video between now and 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow, or else it will be aged. Or you can just come back and watch it and retrospectively either hype us up because we got so much right or dunk on us because we got so much wrong. Either way, it's going to be really fun. Adrian, you got anything you want to say to the good people before we sign off?
Nah, man, it's been fun. We love you, and you know what? Look, what I will say, I said no and then started talking. What I will say is, I can appreciate again. Let's expose the bathrobe here. We've had some scheduling issues between time zones, so we haven't been as regular as we want to be. We're trying to get back on track for the season because I feel like we had a really good thing going here, and we're going to keep it going. So look, if you're still here for the 620 people, you're still here now in 24, and we love you, man.
I can't agree with you enough, man, and it's obviously this. I've told Adrian this over the years, but like this is very much scratching an itch for me, like as a football fan, like getting to do this and just talking to the boys, and it's like weekly coffee, honestly. That's really what this feels like, like just catching up, talking fantasy, talking sports, making some predictions, betting some rent. Oh, here we go, man. That's my dog right there, bro. That's my dog, Armand. Appreciate you.
Put your volume down slightly.
Yeah, if before we go, if we're betting the rent, what are we betting the rent on? You give me one.
Bijan over 100 rushing receiving. In fact, I'd go over 120. No, you know what? Let's be smart here. Over 100 rushing receiving.
Give me Pats. Give me Pats plus 1.5 over Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I like that pick. I think the
Bet
Pats
the
will
rent.
win that.
So text me your parlay slips. I'm looking forward to hearing all about all the money you make off this conversation, and I'll just take my like 1%. You know, when you win a milli, I'll just take my 1%.
Yeah, no biggie.
I'll be fine. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another phenomenal episode of Legit Football. I'm Kevin Phillip Fox. That's Adrian Revito, and we are